the fragrance of selfless love that has drawn the world into one family. The truth of an eternal message that has been revealed through every act and word. The fulfillment in service that has been taught by relentless sacrifice. The Lord's own life is indeed His message.
Sai Ram, and welcome to the 30th and the last episode in our running series entitled The Message of the Lord, which we started airing on the historic date 20th of October 2010. As we wind down, it is useful to begin by wondering how come we are often so bloated up with body consciousness and ego when we are actually very small.
Many years ago, Dr. Philip Morrison did a wonderful article in Scientific American entitled The Powers of 10. Morrison's idea was to start from the Earth and then pull away to the farthest region of the cosmos.
The acrobat's ring is 1 meter wide. The crowd is 10 times wider, 10 meters across, larger by 1 power of 10. Now, with every step, every ring, we travel 10 times farther from Venice, and our view of the universe is 10 times wider. The 100-meter ring surrounds St. Mark's, and 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer, the city center. As our speed increases, 4 steps, 4 powers of 10, reveal all the islands of Venice, the Adriatic Sea, and the mainland of northern Italy. Six steps take in Europe from central Germany across Italy to the Balkans. And soon we can see the entire planet, our home in space. Eight steps on our outward journey, 8 powers of 10, and we pass the farthest reaches of human travel, the moon. If we visualize the paths that the 9 planets take in their orbits around the Sun, at 13 steps from St. Mark's Square, the entire solar system comes into view. And with 15 steps, 15 powers of 10, we can see that our Sun is just another star. From here on, our voyage will be measured in light years, the distance light travels in an entire year. Only now do we fly past our nearest neighbor stars, almost 5 light years away. The same journey at the speed of today's spacecraft would last 100,000 years. As we cross the perpetual night, our voyage takes us up and out of our Sun's neighborhood, near the edge of a great pinwheel of stars. The Milky Way is actually a spiral galaxy, and our own sun is just one of 100 billion stars in it. At this immense scale, 23 powers of 10, each shining light we see is not a star, but an entire galaxy, composed of countless stars. Astronomers have discovered that the galaxies are flying away from one another. The universe is expanding. Our own galaxy and all the others form clusters and superclusters of stupendous size, hundreds of millions of light years across. And here, about 15 billion light years from Venice, we approach the outer limits of the visible universe. What lies beyond this cosmic horizon, we cannot see and do not know.
It is when we actually go through such an exercise that we truly appreciate how small and insignificant we really are. Morrison then did a similar exploration into the world of the small.
This busy world of single-cell paramecia is only 1 millimeter across, 3 powers of 10 smaller than a meter. The microscope allows us to continue our journey into the realm of the very small. As we move into the cell nucleus, each new ring now reveals a world 10 times smaller in diameter than the last. Deep within the nucleus, we come upon truly remarkable constructions, long spiraling molecules of DNA. DNA holds the chemical codes for the reproduction of most organisms on the planet, whether they're paramecia, people, or petunias. Voyaging on, we see that molecules are made of even smaller parts called atoms. The tiny world of the carbon atom is very strange indeed. Its 6 electrons seem to swarm everywhere at once. Now our voyage takes us through a void that appears as vast as the space between the stars. Ahead lies the atomic nucleus, so fantastically small that if the whole atom were the size of this theater, its nucleus would be like a speck of dust. Yet the nucleus contains almost all of the atom's mass, packed into particles called protons and neutrons. And these, in turn, are made of still smaller, mysterious things called quarks. Exploring this, the inner frontier of the universe, physicists wonder if quarks might contain even tinier building blocks of matter.
Altogether, a very fascinating exercise taking us to the world of the very large as well as the very small. Like most scientists, Morrison avoided mentioning God, but today I would like to take you on that same trip almost to the edge of space with a specific idea of giving you a glimpse of the glory of God. You see how vast the universe is and how insignificant we are in relation to the cosmos? And yet, as Bhagavan Baba often points out to us, how puffed up humans feel just because they have property, money, power, etc., or have done something or beyond the normal. Is this justified?
And the funny thing is that even many devotees feel that way. So much so that when they are in the presence of Bhagwan Baba, they forget that they are in the presence of the very God who created all that we just saw. That is the power of ego, blinding one to the presence of God Himself.
Turning to the glory of God, Swami says that one can see it everywhere, in fact, wherever one looks. Just relax for a moment and watch a glorious sunset as the sun disappears below the horizon. What a soul-filling sight it is. Well, The beauty of that sunset is nothing but a minute reflection of the glory of God. Next, look at some of the great mountains of the world. The majesty of those mountains proclaim nothing but the glory of God. There are, of course, countless such examples. Examples you saw were all different, no doubt, but beneath the surface, they all proclaim nothing but the glory and the power of God manifesting in every nook and corner of the universe in so many different ways. The real question is, do we take even a moment off to wonder about the relationship of all this to God Almighty? As Swami sometimes asks, who is it that has put a red beak on a green parrot? Who is it that has made the peacock so beautiful? You know something? The frog, the dog, and the donkey, for example, simply do not know what beauty means. They may stare at a glorious sunset, but can never enjoy it. Humans, however, are able to. And do you know why? Because truly speaking, when you and I enjoy the beauty in nature, it is really the God or the Atma within us that is enjoying that beauty. God is in the sun, and God is also within us. Thus, when we enjoy a sunset, it is really God in a human being loving the God in the sun. Now maybe you understand what Swami means when he explains creation by saying, I separated myself from myself in order to love myself. In other words, it is all a divinely orchestrated heart-to-heart resonance of which we are not even aware. It is rather like a piano maker making a piano and then playing it to enjoy himself. Each of us is thus like a particular key, and thus it is that we all become agents of God in this great loving game. If the piano is not properly tuned, then when some keys are struck, one would not get the proper sound. Rather, one would get a somewhat jarring note. That would be a case of a person who has shut out God within. And we have already discussed what we must do in order to set right that problem. So you see, it is all a big game of hide and seek really, with God challenging us who are deeply immersed in worldly affairs to seek Him out and experience Him. That is what love-to-love connection between humans and God is. And you might remember that Baba in fact often mentions it. But unfortunately these days, we are all so busy that we are not conscious that God is constantly challenging us via this divine game of His. Getting back to how proud humans feel about their achievement, Swami often says, man has built fans for blowing air, but can any fan built by man match the fury of winds during a hurricane or a cyclone? This is but a sample, and one can give any number of such examples. However, I shall not. Instead, I would like to draw attention to the remarkable fact that this God, who is immanent everywhere, is also within us. As you are aware, every time Sai devotees have a meal, they dutifully chant the Brahmarpanam mantra. Notice what the second stanza says. Swami has drawn our attention to it so many times. Basically, it reminds us that no matter what we eat and how we take in the food, it is not really the digestive system that digests the food, converting into nourishment needed for sustaining life, but the power of God within. Yes, the power of God within does so many things for us, but are we conscious of it? Take a simple thing like opening a bottle. Do you realize that humans alone can do such a thing? A monkey might be incredibly agile, but believe me, a monkey can never open a bottle. It is the thumb that we all take so much for granted that helps us to do so many things, including opening the bottle. So powerful is the thumb that Newton once exclaimed, "The thumb alone is enough to prove that God exists." Again and again, Swami keeps telling us, there is only God and nothing but God. Everything is God. Only He is not manifest to the senses. Instead, He has to be experienced. And to do that, one must first cleanse the heart. There are so many wonderful teachings that Baba regularly gives us, but alas, we humans easily forget that, especially in today's fast-moving world. And when people in large numbers decide to put God on the back burner, then there is sure to be trouble. It is to remind us constantly about our wayward habits and behavior that God is now in our midst. God is not merely in our midst, He is also doing so much for all of us, in fact, all the time. More than anything else, the avatar of the age is training himself to shower so much divine love on all of us all the time, totally unmindful of the physical inconvenience to his physical frame. And he is doing all this so that we may wake up from our spiritual slumber and pay serious attention to the real purpose of his incarnation. On this occasion, even as we all eagerly look forward to the celebration of the 85th birthday, let us rejoice that God is in our midst. At the same time, let us also pay serious attention to his cosmic aspect that lies hidden behind his enchanting form. Understandably, we are swept by the beauty of Baba's physical form. This, of course, is unavoidable. At the same time, we should all pause for a second to remind ourselves that this very same Swami also pervades the entire universe. Way back in 1968, late Mr. Kasturi recorded a talk citing various statements Swami had made from time to time, commenting on his advent, his glory, and his mission. Let us hear excerpts from that historic recording. Please pay careful attention, for in the extracts presented, Baba is speaking to all of us as a Sri Sathya Sai avatar. Just as he did long time ago, back then, he spoke to just one human being. This time, it is addressed to all of humanity directly. I should say, we are really lucky to hear all this. Just to remind you once more, the recording from which we are offering snippets was made in 1968, 42 years ago.
Every step in the career of the avatar is predetermined. Rama came to feed the roots of Satya or truth and Dharma or righteousness. Krishna came to foster Shanti, peace, and Prema, love. Now, all these four are in danger of being dried up. That is why the present avatar has come. The Dharma that had fled to the forests has to be led back into the villages and towns. The anti-dharma that is ruining the villages and towns has to be driven into the jungle. Come, just one step forward. I shall take 100 steps towards you. Shed just one tear, I shall wipe 100 from your eyes. I bless only thus. May your bliss grow. I have come to give you the key of the treasure of Ananda or bliss, to tell you how to tap that spring, for you have forgotten the way to blessedness. If you waste this chance of saving yourselves, it is just your fate. You have come to get from me tinsel and trash, the petty little cures and promotions, worldly joys and comforts. Very few of you desire to get from me the thing I have come to give you, namely liberation itself. And even among these few, those who stick to the path of spiritual practice and succeed are a handful. Your innate laziness prevents you from the spiritual exercises necessary to discover the nature of God. This laziness should go. It has to be driven out of man's nature in whatever shape it appears. That is my mission. My task is not merely to cure and console and remove individual misery, but it is something far more important. The removal of misery and distress is incidental to my mission. My main task is the re-establishment of Vedas and Shastras and revealing the knowledge about them to all peoples. This task will succeed. It will not be limited. It will not be slowed down. When the Lord decides and wills, His divine will cannot be hindered. But I call you to me and even grant worldly boons so that you may turn Godward. No avatar has done like this before, going among the masses, counseling them, guiding them, consoling them, uplifting them, and directing them along the path of Satya, Dharma, Shanti and Prema. I know the agitations of your heart and its aspirations, but you do not know my heart. I react to the pain that you undergo and to the joy that you feel, for I am in your heart. I am the dweller in the temple of every heart. Do not lose contact and company, for it is only when the lump of coal is in contact with the live embers that it can also become live ember. Cultivate nearness with me in the heart, and you will be rewarded. Then you too will acquire a fraction of the supreme love. This is a great chance. This chance will not come your way again. Beware of that. If you cannot and do not cross the sea of grief now, taking hold of this chance, when again can you get such a chance? Be confident that you will all be liberated. Know that you are saved. Go and tell all that you had come to Puttaparthi and that you got here the secret of liberation. Many hesitate to believe that things will improve, that life will be happy for all and full of joy, and that the golden age will recur. Let me assure you that this Dharma Swarupa, this divine body, has not come in vain. It will succeed in averting the crisis that has come upon humanity.
Please note that this is played out from our audio files. Those words spoken by late Mr. Kasturi were actually the words of Bhagavan Baba addressed to us, which Mr. Kasturi rendered in English.
That call of Swami was soul-stirring and inspiring, was it not? Equally important, it is full of meaning. Notice the warning that Baba is giving about devotees wasting their time asking for trinkets and not paying serious attention to the depth and profundity of his message? He says, righteousness that has fled into the forests has to be brought back into the towns and villages. The anti-righteousness that is ruining the towns and villages has to be driven back.
That was what Swami said way back in 1968, long before globalization, the internet age, Twitter, YouTube and whatnot. Just imagine how bad things have become since then. But is anyone doing anything about it? Hardly, which is why we made it a special point to produce and present this month-long serial. Let us remember that God has not come down merely for giving darshan, watching the programs we stage, for traveling around, visiting the homes of devotees and so on. Yes, He does all that to make us as happy as possible. But we must not forget at the same time that He very much wants us to seek a higher level of happiness that comes from being immersed in Him. Actually, we hardly realize how simple Swami has made it all for us. He does not expect us to become yogis and go into a trance. Not at all. Instead, He has given us very simple ways of being one with God and experiencing the highest form of ananda or bliss. Swami has explained how this can be done. Baba says, doesn't matter if you are doing something pretty mundane like moving food supply in a tractor trailer. Think of me while doing so and sing for me. Just see how much bliss that gives you. Swami adds, you can be vacuuming the floor or cutting vegetables or whatever. Even as you are doing these so-called mundane things, just think of me and maybe hum a bhajan or something. That would make you happy and also make me happy. Very happy, in fact. You know, Baba is so kind and compassionate that he has really simplified things for us. He understands that this is the age when everyone is in a tearing hurry. Nevertheless, in the midst of all this hurry-burry, we remember God if we want to. Just watch this. Saw that? There was the pilot praying before takeoff and saying thanks after landing. That, says Baba, is the way work is made into worship. Blessed indeed are we to be here on earth, when the Lord in human form is right here in our midst. Even more blessed we would become if we make at least some effort to follow the teachings that He has so compassionately and with such patience been imparting to humanity for so many decades. Bhagavan Baba has done all this because of his staunch belief that someday or the other we would take his teachings seriously. In fact, not only has Swami been giving discourses tirelessly, but also lived his entire message as we have sought to show in the series. When he has placed so much faith in every single one of us, can we afford to disappoint him? Obviously we cannot, and indeed we shall not. That should be our resolve. Redoubling our faith in Him, let us joyously prepare to celebrate the forthcoming landmark event, the 85th anniversary of the advent of the Sri Sathya Sai Avatar. There have of course been many great birthday celebrations earlier. But this one is something really special, for it is coming at a time when humanity is truly at the crossroads. This is the moment when not just a few of us, but the whole of humanity has to make crucial and critical choices. Choices that would determine whether we all survive and become redeemed, or crash into a state of endless misery and suffering for most, if not all. It is to save humanity from that wretched state and to restore dharma to its exalted pedestal that Bhagavan Baba has come, and in 85 long years, Sai made his innumerable sacrifices for our sake. Recognizing that truth, let our celebration of the 85th anniversary of the incarnation of Sai also be the day when we are born again, spiritually that is. Shedding the cloak of ignorance or ajnana covering us, let us be ready to be the torchbearers of love in a world enveloped in spiritual darkness, hungering pitiably for divine love. Led by our beloved Swami and seamlessly fusing together as Team Sai, let us march resolutely and steadfastly behind him, knit together by prema and bonded by Atmic consciousness. Let us fulfill what Lord Sai expects of us for our own redemption as well as the welfare of humankind as a whole.
Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Shanti, Shanti.
What you heard just now is an ancient Indian prayer addressed to the Lord, seeking His help and guidance in making three critical transitions. They are the transition from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. Well, that brings to an end this 30-part special teleserial entitled The Message of the Lord, that was specially produced for being aired on the eve of the 85th anniversary of the advent of the Sri Sathya Sai Avatar, or Swami as we all endearingly call him. It has been our privilege and blessing in serving you, dear viewers, and we hope that you enjoyed this presentation as much as we enjoyed in bringing it to you. Thank you for being with us all these days, and our special thanks go out to the many who have taken the trouble to write to us and tell us how much they are enjoying this presentation. Well, before we sign off, we would like to inform you that this streaming program would continue until the 25th of November. However, from tomorrow onwards, we would be offering coverage of current events as they happen here in Prashanti. Of course, we would be covering the birthday function as well. Make sure that you do not miss that. Once again, thank you for being with us. Jai Sai Ram.